Sometimes, a candy's fate isn't sealed in the factory where it's made, but by events thousands of miles away. This is the story of how a catastrophic nuclear disaster led to a nationwide candy ban, turning a simple stick of gum into a symbol of radioactive fear. In the spring of 1986, the world watched in horror as news trickled out of the Soviet Union about a catastrophic accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. A reactor core had exploded, sending a plume of highly radioactive isotopes like iodine-131 and cesium-137 high into the atmosphere. Winds carried this invisible cloud across Europe, contaminating farmland, livestock, and water supplies. Governments scrambled to implement protective measures. In Italy, which received a significant portion of the fallout, the response was swift and severe. The government imposed drastic restrictions on the consumption of fresh milk, leafy greens, and rainwater, fearing they had been contaminated by the radioactive rain. But the concern didn't stop with fresh food. There was a pervasive, almost paranoid fear of any agricultural product that could have been exposed. Among the many products caught in this wide net was a beloved, classic chewing gum. This wasn't a new, trendy candy. It was a staple, a familiar presence in candy stores and pockets across Italy. Its main ingredient was gum base, which is derived from latex sap harvested from trees that stood outside, exposed to the air and the rain in the weeks following the disaster. The Italian government, operating under an abundance of caution, or perhaps panic, made a sweeping decision. They issued a temporary but total ban on the sale and consumption of this specific chewing gum. The reasoning was that the sap could have absorbed radioactive particles from the atmosphere, theoretically turning a childhood treat into a vehicle for internal radiation exposure. The ban, while likely more symbolic than scientifically rigorous, had a profound psychological effect. For Italians, the gum became a tangible, chewable reminder of a distant, invisible threat. It was no longer just candy. It was a potential harbinger of cancer, of leukemia, of a slow, unseen poisoning. The very act of buying it felt like a risk. While the ban was eventually lifted as the immediate panic subsided and more accurate testing methods confirmed the actual risk was minimal to non-existent, the story remains a powerful artifact of its time. It illustrates how deeply fear can penetrate our daily lives, transforming the most mundane objects, like a stick of gum, into symbols of global catastrophe and the fragile nature of our safety. This fear of what might be hiding within our favorite treats, whether justified or born of panic, is a recurring theme. And sometimes, the threat wasn't an invisible particle from the sky, but a very tangible, very deliberate act of sabotage that would forever change one of America's most cherished holidays.